The Silent Planet. The year was 2347. Humanity had expanded far into the stars, building colonies and alliances across the galaxy. Peace was fragile, but it held. Then, one day, everything changed. A distress signal was received at Earth's Deep Space Command. It was old, weak, and filled with static, but one phrase was clear. Fistory.com. They cried out for mercy. Humanity answered with firepower. The message was in perfect English, yet it came from a planet no human had ever visited. The coordinates pointed to a world in the outer rim, long thought uninhabited. Captain Elena Ramirez was assigned to investigate. Her ship, the Starlight Voyager, was a fast scout vessel, equipped for exploration and first contact missions. She assembled a small team and set course for the mysterious planet. As they approached, the planet appeared lifeless. No lights, no signs of activity. Yet, as they entered orbit, they saw the ruins of cities, vast, advanced, and completely destroyed. Buildings were reduced to rubble, and the surface was scarred by craters and fire. The crew landed near what seemed to be a central hub. They donned their suits and stepped onto the desolate ground. The silence was overwhelming. No wind, no animals, no life. Inside the ruins, they found remnants of technology, alien, yet strangely familiar. Data cores were damaged, but one was partially intact. They'd brought it back to the ship for analysis. Back on the Starlight Voyager, the team worked to decode the data. Hours passed with little progress. Then, suddenly, the screen flickered to life. A holographic recording played. An alien, humanoid in appearance, stood amidst chaos. Buildings burned in the background. Smoke filled the air. The alien spoke. "We begged for mercy. We showed them we meant no harm, but they kept coming. They destroyed everything. They looked like humans, but they were not." The recording ended abruptly. The crew sat in stunned silence. "What does this mean?" asked Lieutenant Harris. Fistory.com. +2. Max Kramer. +2. Fistory.com. +2. Captain Ramirez replied, "It means someone, or something, used our image to commit genocide." Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared. An incoming transmission was detected. It was the same distress signal, but this time, it was directed specifically at the Starlight Voyager. Fistory.com. The message repeated. They cried out for mercy. Humanity answered with firepower. Then a new line appeared. "You are next." The crew looked at each other, fear evident in their eyes. Captain Ramirez stood firm. "Prepare for departure," she commanded. "We need to warn Earth." Fistory.com. Fistory.com. As the Starlight Voyager lifted off, the planet below remained silent, its secrets buried beneath the ashes. But one thing was clear: a new threat had emerged, one that wore humanity's face and brought only destruction. The journey to uncover the truth had just begun. The Burned Ones. The Starlight Voyager raced back to Earth, its engines pushing to the limit. Captain Elena Ramirez stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the stars ahead. The message they had received haunted her. "You are next." Upon arrival, the crew was debriefed by top officials. The data from the alien ruins was analyzed, revealing a disturbing truth. The attackers had used weapons and tactics eerily similar to humanity's own. But Earth had no record of any such missions. "It's as if someone is impersonating us," said Dr. Malik, the lead analyst. Further investigation uncovered a classified project from decades ago, Project Chimera. It involved creating hybrid soldiers using human and alien DNA. The project was deemed unethical and shut down. But what if some of those hybrids had survived? Satellite scans detected unusual activity on a distant planet, previously thought uninhabited. A reconnaissance team was dispatched. What they found was chilling. A colony of beings that looked human but weren't. They had built a society, trained in warfare, and harbored a deep hatred for Earth. One of the hybrids, captured during the mission, spoke before taking his own life. "We were your creations. You abandoned us. Now, we return the favor." Back on Earth, panic spread. Who else had they wronged in their quest for dominance? And how many more burned ones were out there, waiting? Captain Ramirez knew one thing. This was just the beginning. The real war was yet to come. The Mask of Humanity. Captain Elena Ramirez watched the stars drift by as the Starlight Voyager left Earth's orbit. She felt the weight of what they had learned in Part 2. Somewhere out there, human-like enemies trained in war and bent on revenge. Now the crew had to find any trace of the fleet that burned peaceful worlds and stop it before Earth was next. 1. A shadow in the data. In the ship's lab, Dr. Malik pored over sensor scans from the burned planet and the distant colony. "These weapons," he said, pointing at the holographic display, "use human designs, but they are twisted. Whoever built them copied us." "Exactly." He tapped a flickering icon. "And look here. Thermal signatures match no human vessel in our records." Lieutenant Harris frowned. "So these imposters stole our tech. But where did they get it? And who taught them to fight like us?" Dr. Malik shook his head. "We don't know. But we do know they plan more attacks. We picked up one heading to the Orion Expanse. Another peaceful system. 2. Race to the Orion Expanse." Captain Ramirez set a new course. "We must catch them there," she ordered. The Starlight Voyager leaped into hyperspace, the stars stretching into lines of light. The crew braced themselves. Time was short. If they failed, countless innocent lives would burn. During the jump, the ship's AI, Amara, ran simulations. A hollow voice echoed through the corridors. "Prediction. Enemy ships will use our battle formations. They may attempt to deceive local defenses by broadcasting human transponder codes." Ensign Park, navigating, looked uneasy. "They could slip past any patrol if they mimic our signals. The Orion Expanse won't know the difference until it's too late." 3. Arrival at Orion. The hyperspace exit was rough. Stars snapped back into view, and the Orion Expanse lay before them, a cluster of blue-green worlds and glittering space stations. All looked peaceful. "Sensors show 5 incoming contacts," Harris reported. "They bear human signatures. They approach Sikora Station." Sikora was a civilian hub known for trade and tourism. Its shields were gentle and welcoming, no match for a surprise attack. Captain Ramirez's jaw tightened. "Raise our shields and cloak the ship. We go in quietly." 4. Cloaked Observer. Hidden in darkness, the Starlight Voyager drifted near the station. The enemy ships, sleek, silver vessels, dropped out of hyperspace and aligned in human fleet formation. Their transponders blinked friendly codes. Soon, innocents would open their gates. Ramirez felt a chill. "They wear our mask. They look like us. They speak our language, perfectly mimicked. We don't know how many they have trained." A flicker on the tactical screen drew her eye. One of the vessels emitted a strange pulse. "That's not our tech," she whispered. "It's different. Alien in origin." 5. The First Strike. Sikora's control tower hummed with routine chatter. "Incoming ships. Everyone stand clear." Docking bays began to open. Suddenly, the alien pulse hit the station's core. Lights flickered. Explosions echoed through the hull. Civilians screamed. Trade ships toppled in mid-dock. Captain Ramirez gave the order. "Fire disruptor beam wide. Disable those ships before they can escape." Blue energy lanced out, striking the lead vessel. It shuddered, then exploded in a ball of fire. 2 others tried to flee but lost power and drifted helplessly. 6. Face-to-face. With the threat immobilized, a boarding party formed. Ramirez led a small team in armored suits to the nearest ship. They breached the hull and found empty corridors lined with human-style signs. Crew quarters. Med Bay. Bridge. Lieutenant Harris found a central log terminal. He downloaded its records. Ramirez scanned the dim hall. The ship was spotless but eerily silent. No crew, no bodies, only empty bunks. Harris returned and showed her the data. It's a training manual, steps for war, tactics, even human etiquette for the bridge crew. This ship was made to fool everyone. 7. The shocking truth. Back on the Starlight Voyager, Dr. Malik decrypted more logs. He looked up, eyes wide. These imposters aren't just hybrids. They are exact copies, cloned soldiers with stolen memories of human battles. And they learned from us. Captain Ramirez's heart pounded. Clones, using human DNA and alien tech. Project Chimera has become something we never imagined. They were left alone, and they grew strong. Dr. Malik held up a small data shard. This shard controls their behavior. Whoever holds it can command them all. Ramirez stared at the dancing lights on the shard. Then we know what to do. We find the source of that control signal and cut it off. Without it, they lose their unity. 8. Cliffhanger. A new warning. As the crew prepared to hunt for the signal source, the ship's comm crackled. A distorted voice spoke. You think you have won a battle, but the war has just begun. The mask of humanity hides a greater enemy, one you cannot yet see. The message ended. The screen went dark. Captain Ramirez's voice was firm. Plot a course for the origin of that signal. We're going deeper into enemy territory than ever before. Remember, these ships look like us, fight like us, but they are not us. And we will stop them, no matter the cost. The Starlight Voyager surged forward, engines blazing, toward a threat darker than anyone had guessed. The true enemy waited in the unknown. Echoes of war. Captain Elena Ramirez sat in Earth's high command briefing room, flanked by senior officers and scientists. The holotable before them glowed with three-dimensional maps of distant systems. In the center hovered a small red star, the location where the enemy control signal had originated. Dr. Malik tapped a datapad. Our scans traced the signal to an old Mars archive facility, decommissioned 50 years ago. We believed it sealed and abandoned after Project Chimera was canceled. Lieutenant Harris frowned. Project Chimera. That was the attempt to create hybrid soldiers with alien DNA, right? We thought the program ended after public outcry. Officially, yes, Dr. Malik replied. But these archives suggest some files remained hidden, and the control signal comes from that facility. 1. Journey to Mars. The Starlight Voyager dropped out of hyperspace on the edge of the solar system. It docked at the Luna Gate station for final refueling, then continued to Mars orbit. Once a proud human cradle of exploration, Mars was now quiet, its surface dotted with abandoned domes and silent towers. Ramirez walked the narrow corridors of the research facility's spaceport, flanked by 2 armed Marines. The airlock hissed open, revealing a long shuttle bay, dusty and dim. A rusted elevator label read, Archive Level 42. 2. Hidden Archives. The team rode the slow elevator down through layers of concrete and steel. Lights flickered as they descended. Finally, the doors opened onto a vast data vault. Walls of glass tubes housed memory cores. Dusty consoles stood like ancient sentinels. Dr. Malik inserted an access key into a central terminal. The screen blinked, then displayed a single classification banner. Top Secret, Project Chimera. He opened the file. Rows of reports described genetic splicing tests. Human volunteers merged with alien cells harvested from the Orion ruins. Early test subjects showed enhanced strength and rapid learning. But side effects were severe. Rage episodes, memory loss, unpredictable aggression. Ramirez's jaw tightened. It says here they destroyed part of the facility in '98, killing dozens. They declared the project a failure and locked everything away. Dr. Malik scrolled further. They thought they wiped all subjects, but there were missing records and no final accounting of live test subjects. He looked up, Voice low. They never found them. We assumed they died. 3. Evidence of survival. Lieutenant Harris examined a hologram of a control console. This signal generator, it was never tested here. It's new, but its design matches the alien pulse we saw in Oran. Ramirez crossed her arms, which means someone rebuilt it, using our DNA templates and alien tech. The hybrids survived, learned, and now run themselves. A Marine called out, "Captain, you need to see this." He pointed to a side room where security cameras recorded a flicker of movement. A tall figure crossed the halls, face human, posture odd, eyes cold. It never spoke, but its presence was enough to chill the team. 4. Clones in command. Back in the vault, Dr. Malik found command logs. A name appeared again and again, Commander Artisvale. He was Project Chimera's lead field officer, presumed executed when the program ended. The logs showed he survived. He led a cell of hybrids who broke free, stole tech, and built their own fleet. They studied human history, learned tactics, and hid in the shadows. Now they used the archive to broadcast their control signal across the galaxy. Ramirez's voice was fierce. Vale used our own technology against us. He and his clones aren't just soldiers, they're leaders. They crave power and vengeance. Dr. Malik added, he uses a neural link carried on that red crystal. Remove it, you break their unity. But finding it in a solar system of ruins will be challenging. 5. Cliffhanger. A challenge from beyond. As the scientists debated strategy, the facility's comm crackled. A distorted, commanding voice filled the vault. You dig through old bones to learn your guilt, but the echoes of war are far stronger. I am Artis Vale, your true heir. You left us to die. Now we rise, and soon even Mars will burn. The transmission cut. The vault lights flickered and went dark. Captain Ramirez drew her sidearm and steadied her breath. Lock down the archive. Secure every exit. We find Vale tonight, before he finds us. Outside, the dusty corridors of the Mars archive stretched into shadow. And somewhere beyond, Commander Vale watched, ready to unleash his revenge on humanity's heart. The war that should have died 50 years ago had only just begun. The first strike. The Starlight Voyager returned to Earth with urgent news. Admiral Jace Corrin, renowned for swift and decisive action, took command of the new task force, a fleet of 10 warships, each bristling with the latest disruptor cannons, assembled in Earth's orbit. Their mission: hunt down the clone armada before it could strike again. 1. Briefing at Earth Command. In the Grand Briefing Hall, Admiral Corrin addressed her officers. We know the enemy uses our face and our tactics, she said, voice firm. But they lack our unity and our will. We will find them, and we will end this threat. She activated the holomap, showing the clone fleet's last known jump point beyond the Vega system. We strike there. 2. Hyperspace ambush. Under cover of night, the human fleet sped through hyperspace. On the bridge of the lead ship Valiant, Lieutenant Harris watched the coordinates. They should appear in 5, 4, 3. The stars blurred, then snapped back into place. Ahead, 8 sleek silver ships emerged, sliding into formation. The clones broadcast human fleet codes. Vega Station would open its shields. The trap was set. 3. Warning unheeded. As the clone ships drifted toward Vega, the human fleet acted. Admiral Corrin's voice crackled over the comm. Red alert. All ships, fire disruptor pulses on my mark. The clone fleet's lead vessel hailed Vega Station in calm, human tones. This is Admiral Corrin. Open your gates. But before Vega could respond, the first human ship unleashed its pulse. 4. Disruptor volley. Blue arcs of energy swept the clone formation. One ship shuddered, then exploded in a silent burst of light. 2 more faltered, systems failing. The remaining clones tried to retreat, but human ships moved in fast. Disruptor beams cut their engines and immobilized them one by one. The space around Vega was filled with drifting wrecks. 5. Close quarters boarding. Admiral Corrin ordered boarding parties on disabled vessels. In magnetic suits, Marines glided through the void and entered hull breaches. Inside, clones fought back with precise, human-style tactics. But they were outnumbered. Every corridor echoed with shimmer of energy rifles and the thud of combat boots. Within minutes, the boarding teams secured the ships and captured vital data cores. 6. The clone leader escapes. On the bridge of the flagship clone ship, Commander Artis Vale watched his fleet fall. He pressed a hidden panel under the console. A secret shuttle ejected, carrying Vale, and a small red crystal, the control key to every clone's mind. The shuttle swooped into darkness, vanishing before the human fleet could detect it. Back on the Valiant, Admiral Corrin realized the escape. She slammed her fist on the armrest. "He got away," she growled. "But we have the data. We know his next jump point, a world called GalacticPrime." 7. Aftermath and resolve. The crippled clone ships were towed away. Human engineers worked through the night to decrypt the captured cores. The cost had been high. 3 human ships damaged, dozens of lives lost. Still, the victory proved humanity's strength. They had met the enemy head-on and won. Admiral Corrin stood on the deck of her flagship, watching Vega Station celebrate. She whispered to herself, "He may hide, but he cannot run forever." 8. Cliffhanger. GalacticPrime. Across the void, in a distant system, the secret shuttle approached a massive planet. From orbit, GalacticPrime looked alive with lights, cities glowing under swirling blue clouds. This was no small outpost. It was a world built for war. Inside the shuttle, Commander Vale clutched the red crystal. He smiled coldly. "Welcome home, my army," he said. "GalacticPrime will be our fortress, and from here we will unleash the next strike." The shuttle descended into the planet's atmosphere, and the true scale of the clone threat was revealed. GalacticPrime awaited, a world larger than Earth and ready to march on humanity itself. Planet of Fire. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace above GalacticPrime. From orbit, the planet glowed with thousands of lights, cities alive and humming. This was the clone homeworld, their fortress and cradle. Admiral Jace Corrin stood on the bridge of the Valiant, arms crossed, as the other ships formed a circle around the planet. 1. First impressions. Below them, towering spires lit the night and great highways glowed like rivers of fire. GalacticPrime was a marvel of engineering. Clones had spared no effort in building their city world. Yet every light carried a threat. Armies drilled in perfect human formation. War machines lined in neat rows. Lieutenant Harris tapped the holo display. Sensors show shields are active, but power levels are uneven. They may not hold for long. Admiral Corrin nodded. "We will give them one chance to surrender." 2. Broadcast of mercy. The fleet's comm channels opened to every ground installation. Corrin's voice boomed across space. "Citizens of GalacticPrime, this is Admiral Corrin of Earth's United Fleet. You face defeat. Lay down your weapons and release all hostages. Mercy awaits those who comply." For a tense minute, nothing happened. Then every city blinked off in unison. A single broadcast came back, crystal clear and trembling. A clone spokesperson spoke. "We are not your enemy. We seek peace, only survival. We were abandoned. Let us live." 3. Debate in the fleet. In the fleet's command circle, voices rose. Captain Ramirez urged caution. "We must verify their sincerity. Let's send envoys." Dr. Malik agreed. "If they truly want peace, we can end this without bloodshed." But Admiral Corrin remained silent. She had seen the cost of mercy before. Her jaw tightened as reports came in. Hidden weapons caches, training grounds still full of soldiers. 4. Decision for firepower. Corrin finally spoke. her voice cold and steady. They beg for mercy now, but they begged before they burned worlds. We cannot take the risk. She turned to the weapons officer. Prepare orbital disruptor strike. Target shield generators and supply hubs. No civilians should be harmed. A wave of shock passed through the room, but Corin gave the order. Fire on my mark. 5. Planet-wide strike. Silent seconds passed. Then the Valiant unleashed its first disruptor shot. Blue beams lanced through the void, striking the main power node. GalacticPrime's shields shimmered and collapsed. One by one, human warships joined in, their firepower ripping through key installations. Explosions bloomed across the surface like giant flowers of flame. Great arcs of energy cut swaths through military depots. The planet's night side turned bright with infernos, visible even from space. 6. Escape of the clone ship. As the bombardment reached its peak, a lone shuttle slipped out of GalacticPrime's atmosphere. It carried Commander Artis Vale and the Red Crystal. The shuttle's engines flared, and it dove into the darkness, evading human scanners in the chaos. Admiral Corin watched the streak of light vanish. She clenched her fists. He got away again, she muttered. But his world burns for our answer. 7. Aftermath and resolve. The fleet held position as fires raged below. Damage assessments showed pockets of clone resistance, but most command centers lay in ruins. Human engineers worked quickly to secure salvage and rescue any survivors. On the Valiant, Admiral Corin addressed her crew. GalacticPrime is crippled, but the threat remains until we end Vale's reign. We hunt him down. No mercy this time. Below, GalacticPrime's cities smoldered. The planet of fire had proven its might, and humanity's resolve had only grown stronger. The final confrontation loomed on the horizon. The real enemy. The Starlight Voyager and the battered Earth fleet regrouped in orbit above GalacticPrime's moon. Fires still blazed below, but humanity's ships held control of the system. Admiral Corin stared at the holomap, her face pale under the red glow of warning lights. Commander Artis Vale had slipped away once more, this time carrying the key to every clone's mind. 1. The shattered crystal. Dr. Malik examined the red crystal in the lab. Its surface pulsed with an alien energy. This is more than a control device, he said. It's a beacon. It calls out to something, or someone. Lieutenant Harris frowned. You mean Vale isn't the true master? He just follows orders from whoever built this. Malik nodded. We must trace the beacon's source. Without that, Vale and his army will rise again. 2. Tracing the signal. Amara, the ship's AI, fed readings from every sensor. Signal strength is strongest near the galactic core, she reported. A hidden relay station or ship lies beyond the nebula of shadows. Captain Ramirez set a course. Prepare for the worst. We may face a force far greater than clones. The fleet followed, wary and ready. 3. Into the nebula. The ships entered the nebula of shadows, a swirl of dark gas and faint stars. Sensors flickered and died. Communication grew patchy. Fear spread through the crew. They were truly alone in the dark. Suddenly, a massive vessel emerged, a living fortress, its hull a patchwork of alien and human parts. Energy tendrils arced from its sides, connecting to dozens of smaller ships. 4. The true enemy revealed. On the bridge, Admiral Corin watched in horror as the large ship projected a hologram. A being tall and lithe, its skin gray-blue and eyes dark as night. It spoke in a calm, echoing voice. I am Kethar of the Ajari. You humans stole our technology and DNA. Your Project Chimera awakened us. Now, we reclaim what is ours. The hologram shifted, revealing rows of clones kneeling before its image. Your warriors are mine to command. 5. Final battle. Without warning, the Ajari fortress fired a beam of black energy. Ships exploded, tearing the human line apart. Admiral Corin ordered evasive maneuvers and counterattacks, Every disruptor pulse fired was matched by the Ajari's dark blasts. Captain Ramirez led a strike team in an assault shuttle toward the fortress's core, hoping to destroy the beacon device. They weaved through debris and fire, hearts pounding. 6. Sacrifice and victory. Inside the fortress, the beacon pulsed on a daze surrounded by Ajari guards. Ramirez and her team fought through clusters of alien soldiers. Dr. Malik rushed to the beacon, red crystal in hand. "Cover me," he shouted as Harris and the Marines laid down suppressing fire. Malik jammed the crystal into the beacon socket. It glowed brighter, then shattered with a thunderous crack. The fortress shuddered, energy tendrils dying. The Ajari commander let out a hiss of rage as the clones collapsed, freed from its control. 7. A new dawn. As the fortress broke apart, the remaining human ships pressed in, firing final shots. The Ajari vessel imploded in a brilliant flash. Clones drifted in space, uncertain and leaderless. Back on the Starlight Voyager, Captain Ramirez watched as rescue teams boarded drifting vessels. She turned to Admiral Corin, who allowed a rare, relieved smile. "They cried out for mercy," Corin said softly, "and we answered with firepower. But we also answered with courage." 8. Epilogue. Earth sent envoys to help freed clones and study the Ajari ruins. Project Chimera's dark legacy was laid to rest, yet humanity remained vigilant. In the quiet of deep space, Captain Ramirez whispered to Amara, "We'll be ready if ever they return." The stars stretched endlessly before them, the galaxy silent once more, but no longer alone.